So let's go ahead and get started. Welcome everybody to Spotting Relative Strength and Market Leaders in Deepvue. This is a very timely webinar given the market backdrop and what happened last week here with a drop below the 21 EMA on the QQQ. A lot of stocks pulling in pretty hard, and this is actually the optimal time to be doing this webinar. So don't think I planned this, but this is perfect. This is the easiest time period to be spotting relative strength. And why is that? It's because the market is pulling back in. And what is relative strength? It's identifying stocks that are bucking the market trend, holding up better than most. So when that market pressure comes off, those will be the ones to spring to new highs fastest, continue on with their trends, and hopefully get us at a profit really nice and easily and more quickly than other stocks that are more laggards. So when the market is pulling in, this is the ideal time period to be looking for relative strength. Whenever we've got a big down day in the market, I'll be talking through techniques to identify relative strength. Whenever we've got a mini correction, mini pullback, that's another great point to be looking for relative strength. And when we've got a more major correction, that's also a key time to be watching for relative strength and looking for the ones strongest off the bottom, strongest throughout the entire correction, because those often are the next leaders. And not only are they the next leaders, they can also point you to likely the strongest theme coming out of that correction, which can be very helpful in identifying other stocks to be focused on, other stocks that the institutions are really heavily accumulating. So we'll cover a lot today. You can see the relative strength line up here at the top of my chart, the SPY line here, the new RS phases and divergences indicator down here. We'll talk through how to make use of all these. But to start with, I am actually going to hide this one down here, the SPY, just leave the RS line here, and talk through a few really important topics. First, the relative strength line, I'm sure is familiar to many of you, but if you're not familiar with this, basically what this is a plot of the price of whatever you're bringing up. So let's go ahead and bring up just Tesla here. It's the price of Tesla divided by the price of a reference index. And by default, we've got it to the SPY. And basically what this tracks is the performance versus that index. If this line is in an uptrend, that means that the stock is outperforming the index. If it's in a downtrend, it means that the stock is underperforming that index. And this can be very helpful in terms of identifying relative strength. The starts of uptrends, the ends of uptrends, often you get a new uptrend when we start to begin an RS phase as defined by a break above the signal line on this moving average. That's what we color here in blue. You can also, within this indicator, you've got a few different options to adjust the styling, show crossovers. You can really get fancy with it. I like to keep it a little bit more simple. Above the moving average, you color it in blue. Below it, you've got this pink area. It really helps you identify RS phase. This is when you want to be involved in Tesla. This is when it's basing or pulling back and you want to be out of it as a swing trader. This was the start of a new RS phase. Then we're just in a new RS phase right here. So that's very quickly about the relative strength line. The value itself does not matter. It's really about the trend and where it is with regards to its signal line. That's really important. And I use a 21 EMA as my signal line. That is kind of my go-to moving average. And that's a quick thing about the relative strength line. We'll be diving deeper into the rest of the relative strength line, how you can use it with regards to comparing it to the SPY, looking for divergences later on in today's webinar. But first, as I mentioned, looking at the market, we had a steep pullback. So on a day like this, how do you spot market leaders and stocks that are showing relative strength on an intraday basis? Well, if we think about what's happening here on this day, we're seeing a steep drop, a break below the 21 EMA, a gap down, a close right near the lows. So we're looking for stocks that are doing the exact opposite of that. We're looking for stocks that ideally are moving up. They're holding above their moving averages. They didn't have a gap down or they closed strong in their ranges. So in order to do that, and this is a preset for you guys, you can follow along with me. I highly encourage you to do that. You can go ahead and load a column set that looks for those identifying traits of relative strength. So to do that, you want to click the column settings gear icon, load up column set presets, top traders, and then I made this one relative strength finder. So let's open that up. And let's talk through each of these data points, and let me zoom in a little bit because I know that might be a little bit small for you guys to see here. What we've got here is price percent change today, daily closing range or DCR. I'll explain what that is in a minute for those of you who aren't familiar. Absolute strength rating on a 1-day basis. I'll explain that as well. Price percent change from the open, from the low, absolute strength rating on a 1-week basis, and weekly closing range or WCR. So how do we use each of these columns? Well, basically price percent change today on a day where the QQQ is down big. We're looking, if we're sorting by this column, to see the stocks that are up the biggest or that are at least up on the day and green on the day. And we have a few top trader screens from Oliver Kell, Mike Webster that also look for stocks that are up on the day on a day like today. And we're going to get into that in just a minute. But first, this column set, I wanted to highlight it because it's really helpful when you're going through these screens, the top trader screens, as well as just the Deepvue leader screen to identify relative strength. So let's actually go ahead and load up the Deepvue leader screen. And let me switch back to that top trader screen here, relative strength finder, load that up. And let's open up my data columns and talk through each of these data points. So on a day like Friday, where we had a deep down day, if you sort by percent change today, and I'm already sorted here. There we go. If we go ahead and scroll to the top, these immediately are the stocks that are bucking the trend and are up on the day. BE, which had a catalyst, Root, pushing up from double inside days, PLTR, pushing higher, expectation breaker as well. These are the stocks that are showing relative strength. So what you want to do is write these down. You could have a note, you could have it handwritten, you could have it a watch list that you're creating. You could easily go ahead and select all of these, go ahead, click the plus sign, create a new watch list, and we'll call this RS tutorial. And any stock that you notice having RS based on different criteria, you can go ahead and add that to that watch list. Say you're doing this at the close Friday, that would be your RS list for that Friday. So again, if it's green on the day, on a day like Friday where the market was down big, that's what you can do to sort by percent change today to identify stocks that are very simply up on the day and they're by definition showing some sort of relative strength. You can also, because if we took a look at the QQQ, notice where we closed. We closed very low in the bar. So what's the opposite of that? We want a stock that's closing high up in the bar. And this is defined by daily closing range. A daily closing range of 100% would mean you're closing at the high. A closing range of 50% means you're right in the middle, and near the low would be 0%. And you can see the DCR of the QQQ on Friday was 22%. We've also got this handy visualization of daily closing range that you can see right here. And if we go back to the major list, you can also sort by DCR, and then all these stocks that have 100% DCR or higher than 22% are again showing relative strength. And you can see there's a different list here. There's some overlap like coins here as well, but we've got Hood, we've got IBKR, banking stocks and capital markets has been really strong. So you're starting to see, I saw coin a lot. I saw a lot of banking stocks in different ways of looking for relative strength. That might be a theme that's worth paying attention to and noting as a potential relative strength theme. So again, DCR, just looking for very strong closes near the high. VST, another name that didn't show up on the big gainers list because it wasn't up huge, but it's right near the top in terms of DCR. So this would be one that I'd go ahead and add to that RS tutorial or RS list if I'm making this on Friday. So that's how you use DCR. Let's go ahead and close that. Also in Deepvue, we have a data point that is basically looking for relative strength ranking on a 1-day basis, the absolute strength ranking on a 1-day basis. And all of these that we looked for before with percent change today, all of them have 98s, 97s, 96. So that's another way to quickly sort for 1-day relative strength. A firm, strong push off this pivot here. Another sign of relative strength is that it's respecting that prior base high. So if we scroll back in time, you can see the base high here. Stocks that are strong on a down day will respect support. And this certainly did and had a really nice strong close as well. So that's another key thing to look out for. And using absolute strength 1 day, we quickly highlight those strongest stocks. We've got app as well holding up really nicely so far. CLS, this isn't being talked about a lot, but using this 1-day rank, even though this was only up 2%, it's rated very highly in terms of absolute strength rating on a 1-day basis. So that's another way that you can search by relative strength, and you can go ahead and continuously add stocks that are showing RS to that list. And why is that list important? And why should you kind of track that day to day? Well, say the QQQ continues to go into a correction and it goes down, for many weeks. We have a longer correction like this. If you have an RS list that you track on every single day during this move down, and you start to see the same 3, 5, 10 stocks popping up, day after day, day after day, those are likely going to be the stocks that are leading when the market turns back up. They're bucking the trend almost every single day, and they're acting exceptionally well throughout this correction. And not only that, you start to notice themes that are acting well. Those are themes that are being supported even during this market weakness and are likely going to take off as institutions get more confident when the market pressure lessens and they want to double down on their strongest bets. So that's why it's important to make an RS list like this, and you can do it daily. You can do it every single week if you work full time. You can do it every single week. That's certainly good as well. But the key thing is during a correction and during those big pullback days, you're doing your homework and getting ready for the next move up, because market corrections are opportunities, pullbacks are opportunities, and that's because they set up the next legs up and the next strong uptrends. So that's absolute strength rating. I also really like, in addition to just doing percent change today, I like doing percent change from the open, or even better, percent change from the low. Because what is this data point really telling you? It's telling you that from the low, which stock was supported the most, which one gained the most from the low. So we've got BE, RKLB, strong move off the lows here. Root, strong move off the lows and off the open. Let's find one that wasn't actually up that much on the day, but did a strong move off the low. So AGX, this one had a strong move off the open, not the best closing range, but it was a nice bounce off the lows. CLSK, not up much on the day, but 7% off the lows. And this, of course, is Bitcoin related. I think they're a miner software name. So this was supported off the lows, and it respected that 21 EMA area. So this would be another one that, if you just look by percent change today, you might miss this one, but it's showing subtle forms of relative strength. So let's go ahead and add that to our RS list. And you can kind of go through these different columns, go through the different ways of looking for intraday relative strength, and, continuously just add stocks to that RS list. You could also devise a screen that looks for stocks holding above the 10-day, the 21 EMA, and then go through those names and see if there's any other additional ones that you want to add. That's certainly another way to look for relative strength on a day like Friday where it broke below moving averages. We're looking for stocks that are holding above those moving averages. Let's see. I'm going to pause here for just a second and see if there's any questions here. So to find the RS Finder data column set, you want to click this gear icon. This is how you load any data column set. And you want to go over to column set presets. So you click this drop down menu to load a new column set presets, top traders, and then relative strength finder. And we'll be adding a lot more presets going forward in the next few weeks here. But go to top traders and then relative strength finder, and that will load with whatever screen you have currently available. So I answered that live here. Get a sip of water. So absolute strength rating just means that nothing is weighted. Relative strength rating, we do some weighting in terms of if it's a 12-month relative strength rating, we weight the recent price action, the recent months more than 12 months ago. But absolute strength rating is pure based on performance, no weighting at all. But for a 1-day basis, they'll be exactly equivalent. But good question, guys. All right. Can this be used on an inverse way? In other words, potential shorts for those with big percentage drops combined with very low DCR or WCR? Good question, Alberto. On a big up day, if a stock isn't, up on the day, it's showing relative weakness. On a big drop like Friday, if a stock is down big, it is showing weakness. but those could be the ones that snap back the furthest as they kind of mean revert. So it doesn't necessarily mean that they're the best shorts. The best shorts are based on context of the group, the chart itself. Is it near, big support that if it broke, it would just, start a stage 4 downtrend? That's what you're kind of looking for. Is there a spot to manage risk? Always that's necessary for a good short up setup to the long side or the short side. So definitely go ahead and consider the overall context of the chart with that. I see a question, what app is this? This is Deepvue, and we have I do want to mention this, we have a Black Friday deal right now, which is you can get 1 year for $390. If you go down here, 1 year for $390 or $32.50 a month. This is an excellent deal. This is our lowest price ever. You can go to deepvue.com to access this. And if you're an existing monthly or annual Deepvue member, what you can do is email us at hello@deepvue.com and let us know that you want this deal. And you don't just get the ability to buy 1 year and lock that in for $390. You can choose as many years as you want at $390, and you'll basically lock those in. We've had members who have locked in 10 years at $390. So go ahead and do that if you'd like to. It's an excellent deal. This will be our lowest price ever. So definitely go ahead and take advantage of that. And we'll kind of revisit this at the end as well. But visit deepvue.com. If you're not a member, you can go ahead and check out right away. If you're a monthly subscriber or an annual subscriber, go ahead and email us and let us know that you're interested in the Black Friday deal at hello@deepvue.com, and let us know how many years you would like at that price. So that's on the Black Friday deal. All right. So we've talked intraday RS a little bit. Of course, we want to talk about finding leaders in general. And I think the quickest way to do this is the screen that I have loaded already here, which is the Deepvue leader screen. I've created this in order to search for right away the strongest stocks that can make good moves, that are showing good relative strength on different time periods, that have good growth, have good sales growth. They're a recent stock ideally. So this screen I think is your best bet if you work full time, you don't have a lot of time to screen the markets. Just go ahead and go over to Screener Presets. First, click this drop down menu, Screener Presets, go to Deepvue, and then Deepvue Leaders is the best kind of one-click screen that you can run. And honestly, it's the main one I run. It's the one that I run probably 75, 85% of the time. If I am in a rush and I don't have too much time for my homework that day, I'll just run through the Deepvue leaders, sort by the biggest gainers, then sort by RMV, and find the stocks that are moved up on the most and are also the tightest. So this is kind of the best bet for finding Deepvue leaders. Also, as people mentioned, we do have specifically for down days like Friday, we have different screens that top traders have created that look for relative strength stocks. So if you go over to Screener Presets and type down day, you can see Oliver Kell has a strength on down day screen, which you can load right away. These show a lot of the same stocks, but they're basically showing stocks that are up on the day. You can also load up their criteria right here to take a look at that. This is what he looks for. And he, of course, is a fantastic trader, U.S. investing champion, the record holder as well. So he knows a thing or two about finding leaders for sure. We've also got the Mike Webster down days tell score screen down days tell screen, and also the Bennett down day RS. So these are all great options for finding stocks showing RS. They all look at things a little bit differently, but are all using the same concept of what stocks are holding it better than most, what stocks are showing relative strength on a day like Friday where we were down big on the market. So it's really great that we had that Friday, because if we were just up on the day, this wouldn't quite be as effective a webinar. Additionally, one more thing that I want to point out is if we do go through, just hypothetically, I'm not saying this will happen, but if we go through a more extensive correction like this, where it lasts, let's say 40 days, let's say it lasts 40 days. If we're here, it lasts 40 days, we're starting to move up the right-hand side. A really nice trick that Eve Boboch shared in the IPO Masterclass to find stocks that are showing relative strength during this period and our potential leaders is to, if this correction has lasted 40 days, look for stocks that are performing best over the past 40 days. And basically what you can do in Deepvue is you can go over and either screen for that by adding it as a filter, or you can go over here to column presets and let's do price percent change. And if the correction was 40 days long, you use this one. If it was 30 days long, you use 30. If it was a little bit shorter, 15 days, you could use 15 days. And you basically add that to your column set by going ahead and checkboxing that. You can see it's added right here. And now if we go to the Deepvue leader screen, let's bring that back up. Say we're on day 40 of the correction and we're getting close to potentially a new uptrend. If we go ahead and sort by that, and let's go ahead and we got to bring up that column set again. Recommended, there we go. So we've got this column percent change on a 40-day basis. If the correction has lasted 40 days and we want to see the stocks that perform best over the past 40 days, we'd simply just go ahead and sort by that. And then these would be the stocks that have performed best during that correction. Likely, if the market is still in a correction, these are stocks that are already breaking out and moving higher to new highs. And this is a great way to find, this is a great trick that Eve shared to find stocks that have acted the best over a course of a duration. Also, another hypothetical, another way to do it is say the correction was 40 days long, but we're 15 days from a follow through day or 15 days off the low. Instead of 40 days, you go ahead and edit your column set and do 15 days. And then you're looking for stocks that have been the strongest since the follow through day or since the market low. So again, those would likely be your leaders. They bounce back the hardest. So that's a really cool trick that most people, I think, have never thought about. And hopefully that's a golden nugget that you'll take away from this webinar here. All right. So let me know in the chat if that was new to you, a new tip. All right, let's see what else I want to cover. All right, so as I mentioned, as you're building your RS list, however you find the leaders, you always want to be continuously tracking them and making different RS lists and creating a potential leaders screen or potential leaders watch list. So of the stocks that are showing up again and again on your RS list, you definitely want to be tracking that, creating a watch list in Deepvue and making sure that you're tracking those and are looking for potential entry points near or after the fall through day. So you're ahead of the game. This is where your homework pays off and you're ready to enter a Tesla or an Nvidia just as the market is turning and regaining strength and regaining momentum. All right. So now let's talk a few different ways to identify themes, because in addition to doing a kind of bottoms up approach, which we've talked about so far, which is looking at the stocks first, noting the ones that are showing RS, you can also do a top down approach. And a lot of people are like, you got to do one or the other, this one's better. But I like to do both. I like to look at the stocks and I like to look at a high level, the groups, the themes, the thematic ETFs to kind of corroborate what I'm seeing with the individual stocks. So to do that, I've got a few dashboards set up in Deepvue that I really like. And let's start with the performance charts. So this is something that I go ahead and review daily. Oh, here we go. Let's refresh here. This is something I review daily at the end of the day, and I take a look at this at the end of the week. So what this basically is a dashboard setup where we've got the theme ETFs preset loaded. And again, you can find this under watchlist presets. Go over to top traders and then Richard Moglen ETF list, and you can go ahead and load this and see exactly what I'm seeing. But once you've got that loaded, basically what it is a watch list of all the thematic ETFs. So we've got the ARK funds on here. We've got IGV for software. We've got silver ETF, robotic ETF, ITB. Basically, we have a bunch of ETFs that represent different sectors, groups, themes in the market. And what this basically plots, and the data point I have selected here is price percent change today, is on this day, on a daily view, I can see which was strongest. And Friday, obviously, Bitcoin and Bitcoin names were strongest. We've got IBIT right at the top, IBLC. So in addition to noticing that coin was strong, as we saw from the other ways of finding RS, we're kind of confirming that by seeing that at an ETF level, those were the strongest themes and groups. So it's kind of confirming what we're already seeing. And it's not just a top down or bottoms up approach. We're meeting in the middle and having a fun party in the middle and showing the best way to confirm relative strength. You can also see relative weakness here. Somebody asked about relative weakness. The ARK funds, IBB, those were down. cloud software was down there. So that's kind of on a 1-day basis. I also like to track these on a 20-day basis because this lets me know more about what are the existing leadership groups and themes. And still here, IBIT is at the top. We've got the ARK funds here. We've got IGV software has been super strong. So this kind of lets me know about the ongoing existing themes. And then on a daily basis, I can see a more, a narrow view, more specific view about on that day what was strongest. And you could also at the end of the week go ahead and change this to price percent change on a 5-day basis. And then you've got kind of a weekly view on Friday. If you're not checking this every day, you can just check this on Friday. And very clearly, IBIT has been strongest. ARKF and FinTech has been a leading group. You've probably seen, some top traders mention that on Twitter. Well, how did they find it? Well, they noticed, stocks acting well, Square, Affirm, UPST, but very easily in one click, you can identify that at the end of the week, just like the market wizards and top traders, simply using the Deepvue performance chart, which is super, super cool. So this is a great way to stay on top of themes. And within that, you want to narrow your focus. And, maybe you notice that ARKF is acting well. Then you'd go ahead over to your screener or watch list, type in ARKF. And you could use the really cool holdings feature and click this H to load all those different stocks within that within that ETF. And then you can go through and, sort by 1 month relative strength, if we can go ahead and find that. And right away, you're looking at the strongest stocks within that already strong group. So, Stan Weinstein, Mark Minervini, William O'Neill, always looking for the strongest stocks in the strongest groups. I showed you practically how to do that. Going for the performance charts, identifying that ARKF was one of the strongest ETFs that week. Then we dove deep into the holdings, sorted by the 1 month absolute strength rating. And then we're going through, tabbing through and identifying the strongest names within that already strong theme. And I also want to highlight this. So you can also do it this way, but we also have a built-in feature in Deepvue that, say you're looking at, Toast, financial services. Within that industry, and this is basically by adding this data point industry to your data panel. I'll show you how to do that in just a second. If you open that data point up by clicking this drop-down menu, you can automatically see, if you're looking at Toast, the strongest stocks, the top 10 RS stocks within that group based on 3-month relative strength rating. Sezzle has been acting well. You can click these. They're clickable. You can load up their charts. You can see all of these are acting really well. So this is another way to identify strong stocks by identifying an already strong theme or stock itself, and then looking at its sister stocks, the top stocks within that group itself, using the top 10 RS data panel feature right here. And to add that, basically you want to, if you don't have this, you go ahead and load your data panel up, type in industry, and then just check that off and add it to whatever group you want. This is also the default data panel that I created for myself. So if you just want a one-click solution, have this already set up for you, you can go ahead and go to data panel presets, top traders, and then go to Richard Moglen main panel. And then that data panel data point will already be set up, and you just got to make sure that the drop-down menu is right there. And in addition to that, I also have these group ranks on different time frames. So in addition to looking within industry, I like seeing the rank of the different groups and industries that a stock is in. You can see that Toast is 3 out of 25. So top 3 groups out on a 1-day basis, top 4 on a 1-week basis. The industry is 23 out of 74 on a 1-month basis. So you can kind of see if it's a leading stock within a leading group just by seeing that. And you can click this drop-down menu to see all the ranks. So if you're looking for the industries, what their rank is, how many stocks are in those groups, you can use this feature by adding any rank data point on any time frame to your data panel. This is also clickable just like this, but instead of loading a stock up here, it basically goes ahead and loads the different different stocks within those groups here, and then you can spacebar through and analyze the stocks that way. So there's a lot of usefulness within this data panel feature that I think is new to a lot of people, and you can get started right away by adding the Richard Moglen main panel data preset. You can also go ahead and get creative, make your own, and make sure you have the data points that's most relevant to you in your data panel, but I definitely want to mention that. All right, I got a little off topic there, but still related to finding top groups and top stocks within those top groups. Let's see here. Can you go over your theme ETF search again? For sure. So let's go back to the performance charts here. So to add this theme ETFs, you want to go ahead to this drop-down menu, and this selects the universe of stocks that you're plotting on those performance charts. And these performance charts are excellent. They allow you to really visualize things in a completely new way. And to add the theme ETFs, you want to click this drop-down menu, go over to watchlist presets, top traders, and then Richard Moglen ETF list, give that a click, and that will go ahead and load that for you. We've also got some model book stocks from, just to mention this, from the past year. So if you want to go back and study great winners, we've got that pre-made for you. Another cool hidden feature that probably many people haven't noticed yet. But yeah, that's how you go ahead and load the thematic ETFs. And then to select the data point you're plotting here, you could go ahead and use the search bar here, or just scroll like that. Let me get some water real quick here. Jason says, I currently use CC2000, but I'm seriously thinking of making the switch. Deepvue looks really amazing, and this content they put out is really impressive. Glad to hear that. We've got a lot of features that aren't available anywhere else, especially in regards to performance charts, heat maps, data panel, customizable bubble charts. So definitely encourage you to make the switch, and the Black Friday deal is a great way to get in with a great deal. So it's a great software, and you can get a great deal at the same time with Deepvue Black Friday. How to open performance chart. So you can go ahead and click the dashboard module and then click new dashboard, and we'll actually show that. So we'll just name this tutorial. And by the way, if you don't want to make it for yourself, you can go ahead and click the drop down menu, go to dashboard presets. So we've got presets for screens, data panel, data columns. We know that you guys kind of want one-click solutions, and you can go over here and load any of these presets right here. But in order to add a performance chart, you want to go ahead and click add apps, or click this plus sign, and then these are the different apps that are available. You want to click and drag this over to your chart. You can go ahead and resize it, and then right away you're able to go ahead and load. Let's go ahead and load top traders, that ETF list, and right away you're up and running with the exact configuration that I just showed. So it only takes a few seconds to use this, and you can go ahead and move it around, resize it, whatever you'd like to do in this dashboard. These are super, super cool. All right. So in addition to the performance charts, I also like to do kind of a bottoms up approach at the end of the day using the custom heat maps that we have available. I plot it with price percent change from the open, as well as relative volume. So here I'm looking for bright blue when I'm looking for relative strength. PLTR, of course, stands out. BE stands out. Disney stands out a bit. It's really easy to spot the blue amidst all the pink on a down day like Friday. And these are the stocks that are showing relative strength. RKLB, nice move from the open. You could also do price percent change from the low here as well, or use any of these data points here. We've got also, price percent change over a 20-day basis. So if instead you don't want to do, if we're in a correction for 20 days, you can go ahead and load up this data point, and right away, these are the strongest stocks over the 20 days. App, Dave, Geo, Hut. You might have noticed that these are the stocks that all the top traders are focused on, and that's because they're performing the best and showing relative strength right now over the past 20 days, and that's why we're focused on them. All right, so that's how you use the custom heat map, another really clever way to do it. And then one last thing with the dashboard, or actually the second to last thing, is I do have this cool setup where I've got group ranks on a daily time frame, weekly time frame, 1 month time frame, 3 month time frame for sub-industries, groups, and sectors. So this allows me to go through the different ranks over different periods. If I want to look up and say, hey, what's the strongest group on a 1 month basis, I go right here. I find the 1 month column, go over to group rank. Banks are number one. I might want to dive deeper into the bank stocks. Software is number two. You might have noticed that a lot of top traders are saying software is a leading group. Well, this is a way to identify that really easily by setting this up. And basically, this is a data panel. I'll be making a tutorial specifically creating this and kind of adding it as a preset as well next week. So if you don't want to recreate this for yourself, I'll go ahead and show you exactly how to do that. But if you're ambitious and like to be really creative, go ahead and create a data panel, and you could set this up right away. But this is another cool way to, objectively measure what are leading groups and leading themes that you want to dive in deeper and find stocks that are showing RS within. One last way to look for relative strength on a visual basis is our bubble charts. And basically what the bubble charts do is it ranks any two data points in our database against each other. And on an XY plot, plots the different stocks within a chosen universe. So I have the Deepvue leader screen as my chosen universe. I've got my X data point as price percent change on a 40-day basis, my Y data point as my daily closing range. So if we think about it, a stock that it has a DCR of 100 on Friday is going to be near the top here. So it's showing RS on a 1-day basis based on daily closing range. Then also on a 40-day basis, if it's a really strong stock, it's going to be more towards the right-hand side. So the strongest stocks showing the most relative strength will be in this top quarter here. And we've got App, we've got RKLB, Root, the same stocks we've been talking about over and over again are showing up and being confirmed by different ways of looking for relative strength using the Deepvue, different features and all of that. So this is a cool way to do it visually. Some people really like numbers and want to be sorting their columns. If you're more of a visual person, you could set up a bubble chart just like this, and that allows you to do it really visually. And anything in the top right is showing relative strength, and anything in the top right here is showing good relative strength on the past Friday. So you can go ahead, of course, and add these to your RS list as well. If there's a new name that pops up that you didn't notice any other way, you can go ahead and add that, add that to your RS list. And this bubble chart is super powerful. There's so many different cool configurations you can do. And I definitely recommend you guys watch the tutorial on this and explore this a little bit more if you haven't taken a look just yet, because I think it's a really cool feature of Deepvue that is very, very powerful. The size of the bubble right now I have determined by relative volume. So that just means, BE was really big volume on Friday. They had a catalyst here, so it was extremely large volume. RKLB also had above average volume, but something like, a small bubble like this didn't have, too much above average volume. Warby Parker as well, not much bigger. This kind of helps me identify stocks that are really showing things and showing relative strength versus price as well as volume. If there's big RS on big volume, that's going to catch my eye, and that's going to be a focus to see if there's an entry spot if the market turns around, as well as if the stock presents a nice low risk setup. But good question, Scott. All right. Yeah, and we will have chart templates with our new charts. So that will be something that is coming here. There's a question, can I monitor my portfolio? Yes, you can make a watch list for your portfolio, and then you can add whatever data columns you want to that watch list, and price percent change today, price percent change over the past 5 days, and monitor your portfolio just like that. Good question, Vilas. Let's see here. Can we know what stocks are tracked in the ETFs? Yes, if you go ahead and search any ETF, so let's do SMH. If you click the H next to an ETF in your data column set, it loads the stock within that ETF. This is such a super cool feature. It also shows the percentage weight of that stock within the ETF. So Nvidia is amazingly almost 25% of SMH. And it's got your normal columns here that you can always sort by. But that's how you see what stocks are within an ETF. And to get back to normal, you just go ahead and click that X. All right. So the last thing I wanted to show today is a new indicator that we created in collaboration actually with a Deepvue founder, Joe. So it's super cool to be able to work with you guys. When you guys have great ideas, we want to bring it to the platform. So this is just a great example of that. And it is and let's go over to this watch list here. It is the RS Divergences and Phases indicator. And let's go ahead and add this indicator by clicking this icon here. We can type in DV and look for it, or you can just type in Divergences and it'll show right here. And it's this indicator down here. And let's go ahead and actually hide my volume just so this is maximized. And this is the indicator here. Let's adjust the settings here. So to adjust the settings in Deepvue, what you want to do is hover over the name, click settings, and we'll go ahead and style this so it's a little bit of a thicker weight. There we go. So how do you interpret this indicator? Well, basically, the black line is kind of the in the moment difference between the RS line and a line of the SPY. So let's actually go ahead and add the line of the SPY. So to do that, we use the compare tool. Let's click that, type in SPY, and that compare tool is right here. It looks like a refresh icon. And then let's go ahead and add that to a new pane. And let's go ahead and move that up just below the RS line. So perfect. So basically what this divergence strength is showing, the black line, ignore the colors for now. This black line is showing the strength in the divergence between the relative strength line and the SPY for that day. So this is kind of a daily signal of the strength of the divergence between the RS line and the SPY. The colors identify overall phases where there's a divergence in the RS line and the relative strength line. If we look back in this area, SPY is moving up from this point to this point. The RS line is moving down actually from this point to this point. So the RS line is moving down when the SPY is moving up. And that's why we color this in red. If we go on the more short-term basis, right here, the SPY is in a little bit of a trough. It pulls back in. On the set over the same time period, the RS line moved up. So you can see the RS line is moving up while the SPY is moving down. And that's why this is colored in blue. So that's how to interpret the colors there. And then when you're seeing an RS phase of blue here and a big move up, that's a sign to really pay attention to the stock. And Bloom Energy, even before this gap up, was showing good RS. Even before this earnings gap was showing subtle relative strength in this area. So there's a nice indicator to look at during short-term market pullbacks, during overall market corrections. That's a good time to break out this tool and look for stocks that are in RS phases or have really big divergences on a one-day basis. And that's another reason to add it to an RS list. RS list is if there's a big divergence here in the RS line versus the SPY. If we go to Reddit as another example, you could see, actually that's Root here. We had the big gap up. Before it was actually underperforming the SPY. If we take a look, the SPY from here to here is in an uptrend. The RS line from here to here is in a downtrend. That's why this, for the most part, is in red. And then recently with this gap up, we did have a move up. And I think I actually wanted to bring up Reddit, not Root here. So let's go to bring that up. You can see in this area, this is a nice subtle one that I want to, it's a good example. We've got an RS phase because the SPY is pulling in, while the RS line, it's not increasing really, but it's going sideways. It's showing a subtle sign of relative strength. And what happened when the market pressure lifted? We start to see a nice uptrend in Reddit. It was outperforming during this correction, so it's likely going to outperform when the market pressure lifts and we get a nice uptrend. And recently, again, during this trough, what's Reddit doing? It's moving up in terms of RS line, so that's why it's highlighted again in terms of a positive RS phase divergence. Let's go back here. PLTR, another one that was during this area showing nice RS phase as the market was pulling in. So again, this is the time to break out this indicator when the SPY is in a correction or pulling back over a week, over 2 weeks. This is time to look for stocks that are bucking the overall trend and the RS line is in an uptrend during that same period. Again, we've got coin, and let's go ahead and I think I actually wanted to go to I'm on the wrong watch list here. That makes sense here. So PLTR, that's the one I wanted to highlight. So again, RS phase back here as the SPY is pulling in, RS line is increasing. It also showed up here as the market is pulling back slightly, RS line moving up slightly, and then during this trough as well, RS line increasing as the SPY is declining. And if we go to a weekly chart here on this, you can see back in this area on a weekly time frame, we're seeing a divergence between the SPY pulling in and the RS line moving up over that same period. So you can use this on a weekly as well. Looking at Nvidia, recently it's been showing a negative RS divergence as semiconductors have kind of underperformed. Let me get a drink of water here. So it's been underperforming as semiconductors in general have been underperforming. But take a look at back during this base here and even here, you're seeing outperformance as the market is pulling in. It didn't take off right away, but it set up again and got tight. And what does it do when the market pressure lifts? It starts a nice uptrend, and that was that power move back in this area. So on a weekly time frame, especially if you work full time or can only really set things up on a weekly basis, you can take a look on weekly charts with the RS divergence when we're in an extensive correction, and look for stocks that are putting in an RS phase divergence, positive RS phase divergence during these periods, and those can be your leaders coming out of that correction. And bring up SMH, I want to point out that how it's highlighting the negative RS phase during this period. You can see over this time, SPY is overall increasing, SMH is declining or going flat, and that's why we're highlighting this negative RS divergence here. During this area, it was outperforming right before SMH and Nvidia and everything took off. Now we're underperforming. So this has gone from a leading group and leading theme to a laggard theme. And this indicator can help you spot that. Going back to Tesla, this is the ultimate great example of an RS phase. During the 2020 correction, we were declining, but Tesla was, much shallower decline than the SPY. And that's what is pointed out by this RS phase here. And when the overall market pressure lifts, we know the story. Tesla went up 1,000% in just a short amount of time. And we can actually go to logarithmic here. So it looks a little bit nicer. And this is kind of what we're looking for. During a market correction, on a weekly chart or daily chart, look for stocks that are showing positive RS divergence phases. And those could be your leaders coming out of the correction. And what happens when Tesla starts underperforming in 2021? We're seeing a negative RS divergence as the SPY moves higher and the RS line pretty much goes quiet and tight until this area where Tesla starts performing pretty nicely as well. And this is actually a good example, because what does a white background mean? It basically just means that the RS line and the line of the SPY are moving in sync. There's not a big difference between them. So when there's not a big difference, we don't want to highlight a positive or negative divergence. We just kind of leave it neutral. But you really want to key on is when we see a positive divergence. So just in this subtle pullback here, Tesla, right before it took off on this almost parabolic run, it showed a positive RS divergence phase. This is a pretty powerful indicator. It's not anywhere else. And again, this was in collaboration with a Deepvue founder, Joe. So it's very cool to work with you guys to build something like this and bring it to life. So if you have any indicator ideas, please let us know. If there's something you really want us to bring to the platform, go ahead and send in a feature request, and we'll always take a look at that and see if there's enough demand. And if there is, bring it to the platform. So there's another cool indicator to take a look at. So that's pretty much all I wanted to cover today. I'll go ahead and answer some questions now, but let me know in the chat now, what was your biggest takeaway from today? Was there a tip that I shared, a feature that I shared, a top screen that I shared that really stood out to you? What helped you the most from this webinar? Let me know here. All right, let's go ahead and answer some questions here. Mario asks, will you be able to scan for RS phase divergence? Yes, you will. We're working on that data point currently. Best screener for a pullback are those strength on down day screens, or you can screen, if it's a 20-day pullback, look for strength over those 20 days. That's a great way to screen for RS. Greg's biggest takeaway is that I need to take advantage of the Black Friday Deepvue offer. Yes, you do. And again, visit deepvue.com if you're not yet a Deepvue member, and you can go ahead and check out today. I'll drop the link actually in the chat here, deepvue.com. Let's go ahead and just type it in here, deepvue.com. Go ahead and copy that over to your URL, and you can check out right here. If you're an existing monthly or annual subscriber and you want to extend your current subscription by as many years as you want at $390, you can go ahead and email us at hello@deepvue.com. Let us know you're interested in the Black Friday deal, and also let us know how many years you would like. Again, there's been members who have locked in 3, 5, 10 years. We've had some people upgrade to lifetime access of Deepvue, so it's cool to see your guys' support. But yeah, just shoot us an email at hello@deepvue.com. Let us know you're interested in the Black Friday deal, how many years you would like, and we'll go ahead and process that early next week for you, send confirmation, and take care of everything. Can you use candlesticks versus bar charts? Yes, it can replace TradingView. I don't use any other charting, screening, whatever. I used to use TC2000 and MarketSmith way back in the day. This has everything I need: technicals, fundamentals, and we'll be bringing a lot new innovative features that exist nowhere else, like bubble charts, like custom heat maps, all of that. Let's see here. Oh, how to add SPY to the charts. That's a good question. So you go ahead and click this icon here, and then you could add any other symbol you'd like, but we just type in SPY, and then you could add it to a new pane, new price scale, whatever you'd like, but just go ahead and click this icon and then click SPY here. Nice. Deepvue has an amazing screening tool, which is nowhere. Very nice. Awesome. Lots of ways to find RS was my takeaway. And of course, Deepvue has user-friendly, easy ways to do this. Yes, Brent, awesome. Yeah, I think the key thing that I want you guys to take away from this webinar is that you can look for RS in many different ways. You can sort your watch list. You can notice, from a bottoms up approach, what stocks are repeatedly doing well on a down day, or you can do a top down approach using the ETFs, like I showed with the performance charts, and then you dive deeper into those holdings. There's so many ways to do it, and you kind of have to find the way that makes the most sense to you. For me, it's a kind of melange, a mix of the bottoms up and top down approach, but you kind of have to see, what vibed with you. Was it, screening visually using the bubble charts? That could be a way to do it. You could use the heat maps to see it visually as well. Or you can use the performance charts. This is kind of be my recommended way to do top-down approach, plotting the themes, their performance, and quickly analyzing, ARKF, FinTech's been the strongest, and then diving deeper into that ETF by taking a look at their holdings. All right. Aaron asks, will the renewal rate be the Black Friday deal next year? Here next year moving forward if you sign up today. If you sign up today and if you have an existing subscription, we'll extend your existing subscription by that 1 year. So you won't lose any days or anything like that. We'll just extend something. So if you choose 3 years, your renewal date will be your current renewal date plus 3 years or plus 4 years, however many you choose. And I'd recommend definitely signing up for more than 1 year if you're able to, because we will be raising the price as we incorporate more data, more features, journal, all of that next year. So this will be our lowest offer ever and the last time we offer it as well. So definitely go ahead and sign up for multiple years if you're able to. Glenn says, Deepvue is superb. Been here from the start. Awesome, Glenn. You've kind of seen our progression. If you guys don't have it, get it. That's from Glenn. The team keeps adding more and more great features. Lock in the best price you can. Very nice, Glenn. Thank you so much. Let's see here. Can you use multiple monitors with Deepvue? You can have multiple tabs. Eventually, we will have a desktop option as well, but currently you can have multiple tabs. Tom asks, you can also scan for EPs pre-market and post-market. Handy for finding bid catalyst stocks before they open. We have a pre-made preset for you that basically plots pre and post-market gappers, and right away you can analyze the chart going intraday and going through all those names. So yeah, this is super handy. Thanks, Tom, for pointing that out. Let's see here. Alberto says, having used MarketSmith Market Surge for multiple years, can honestly say Deepvue is way better and much cheaper. Kudos to the team. Thank you, Alberto, for sure. Thank you so much for that. Jeff asks, if we locked in a monthly rate for life, but choose to take the discount for 3 years. No, so you are locked in at your current rate. But if you choose to say get 3 years of the Black Friday deal, you'll have that price for 3 years, and then it'll go back to your locked in rate that you currently have. So don't feel the need to not use a Deepvue Black Friday deal. You can go ahead and use that. You're still grandfathered in to this price. Let's see here. So basically, the Black Friday deal allows you to unlock as many years as you want at $390, and then you guys are grandfathered into the $490 as well as the current monthly price. All right, let's go ahead and Tom Payne, go ahead and shoot us an email at hello@deepvue.com and we can set up a time here. All right. You can rewatch the webinar on YouTube next week. We'll go ahead and post that here. All right. Very nice. Daniel Walsh, if you're interested in a lifetime subscription, go ahead and email us at well. I'll give you the details there. Okay. Paul Smith says, thanks, Richard. Divergence is excellent. We'll look to try with RSV versus SPY. Yeah, that's an interesting way to think about it for sure. Awesome. Let's see here. Okay, cool. Any last questions? Let me know in the Q&A sections, guys. Yes, there are dashboard templates, and we'll be adding more presets as well. Alberto, I use open, high, low, close, and volume bars because it's kind of how I learned first. You could definitely use candles. You just go up here and change the candles. Personally, I see it better looking at bars. So that's kind of what I use, but feel free to use whatever you'd like. It shows the same exact information either way. Whatever helps you interpret things faster and easier, that's the way to go. And I just use black bars because it helps me see how price is building better. So if we go to my standard template, it helps me see expansions, contractions a little bit easier, along with, of course, RMV. But just solid black, solid color helps me kind of take away the bias of an up day versus a red day, and just helps me focus on what price action is doing. Ted says this presentation was excellent. Yep, glad to hear it. Thank you so much. Oh yeah, so Trade Lab. So Trade Lab is a newsletter service that I'm starting. It'll provide both market analysis daily and weekly, as well as going through trading case studies. So this includes a weekly kind of trade opportunity case study where I analyze the best opportunity for swing and position traders that week. And on a monthly basis, we'll be going back in time and analyzing market leaders for the past, their moves, what caused them, entry points, exit points, all of that. So it's both a in the moment idea generation tool as well as an educational tool as well. I highly recommend it. You can go ahead and email us at support@traderline.com for more information, or go to traderline.com/trade-lab. Let me see if I can go ahead and get that URL for you guys. Give me 1 second. Let me copy that over. So you can visit that and sign up as a founder. This weekend only, you can join as a founder, and by doing so, one, you get my support and a big thank you from my side, but also you get access to a one-on-one meeting with me, as well as a special founders only webinar that will be in January. So there's a lot of perks, and you get a very great discounted rate that will never be offered again. So if you're interested in the Trade Lab, which is a great way to stay on top of the leaders, and it'll kind of be me sharing my work. If you don't want to go through this whole webinar and do and look for relative strength for yourself, or you just want kind of confirmation, I'll be sharing my work in terms of stocks that I'm focused on, showing RS, setting up all of that. So traderline.com/the-trade-lab, and you can go ahead and sign up. Yeah, Joan, I saw you subscribe. Thank you so much. Yeah, it's gonna be a great time over there. Really going to dive deep both into the case studies as well as stay on top of the current market leaders. All right, let's see. All right, I think we'll pretty much call it there. Actually, one question: any indicators related to determining Stan Weinstein's stage analysis? Yes, we have the stage analysis indicator, which plots the stages right there for you, both on a daily time frame as well as a weekly time frame. And this is based on in-depth discussions that we had with Stan himself. So if we open this up, or actually we got to go to a native screen here. If we open up Nvidia, say, it's been a stage 2 for quite some time, but stage 4 to stage 2. And if we go to a weekly time frame, it adjusts as well. These colors and the different stages are based on in-depth discussions that we had with Stan and the price and volume nuances that he looks for to determine the stages. We also have, if we go ahead and load this up, I made a Stan Weinstein data panel preset that looks for leading stocks and leading groups. It also shows the Stan Weinstein stage right there for you. This is also screenable in Deepvue. So if you want to screen for only stage 2 stocks, you can just kind of search that within filters, and you can go ahead and do that. But yeah, we definitely have a bunch of stage analysis features incorporated. Subs as, is the TradeLab founder price one time or per year? Yeah, it's once per year, and you're locked in at that price. So you'll always have that price being a founding member. Greg says, I just subscribed to the TradeLab today and I'm looking forward to it greatly. Awesome. I'm looking forward to it as well. Bob says, got my subscription this morning. Awesome. Very nice. It's not replacing the swing report. That's with Oliver. That's completely different. This is just an additional service if you're interested. All right. And again, you can go to tradeline.com/thetradelab if you're interested in signing up as a founder. So lastly, I just want to let you guys know one more time that we are currently doing a Deepvue Black Friday sale. This is our best ever price, and it will be our lowest ever price. So if you're a completely new user, you're looking forward to using Deepvue, you can sign up right here. If you're an existing monthly or annual, go ahead and email us at hello@deepvue.com. Let us know how many years at $390 a year you'd like, and we can go ahead and adjust your account for you. You won't lose any days on your existing plan, whether you're on a monthly or annual. This will just extend it by that many years, and you'll go back to your grandfathered in rate after the number of years at $390. So it's a win-win all around. If you're a monthly, this is the perfect time to upgrade to an annual. We're going to be bringing so many great data points, new features, and aspects of the platform into place over the next year or two, and I can't imagine what Deepvue will be like in 5 years. So if you lock in 6 years, you're going to see some amazing features brought to life. A lot of AI stuff that will make your life a lot easier. So definitely check this out. The Deepvue Black Friday deal. You can go to deepvue.com or email us at hello@deepvue.com if you want more information. And it's an upfront cost, so you would pay for 2-3 years in advance. All right. Bob asks, does the stage analysis chart automatically switch from daily to weekly? Yes, it does. So it knows whether you're on a daily or weekly and adjusts the different moving averages and everything right away there for you. I think that's one of the biggest benefit of Deepvue is obviously it's created by and designed by us as traders. We know what would help our process, what would speed up everything, and we've incorporated all those tools and thinking and processes into Deepvue to speed up your guys' routines. Because at the end of the day, we want to help you guys find the top stocks faster, have it be easy on you, have a lot of presets, both in terms of screens as well as data panels, data points, all of that. So that's our goal. And again, a big plus again with Deepvue is that we listen to your guys' feedback. If you guys want an indicator, if you guys want a feature and it's requested and heavily upvoted, we will go ahead and bring it to life and add it to the platform. We're in a nice growth phase where we really want to bring as many features to life as possible. Other platforms, don't listen too much to their users. They're kind of doing whatever they want. We're kind of the opposite. We want to have as much feedback and user input into the platform as possible. Great evidence of that is that Deepvue RS Divergences indicator, which we created in collaboration with Joe, Deepvue founding member. So definitely go ahead and check us out if you haven't yet. Again, go to deepvue.com to the Black Friday sale, or if you're an existing member, monthly or annual, you can go ahead and also make use of this for as many years as you want by emailing us at hello@deepvue.com. So with that, I think we'll pretty much call it. Alberto says stage analysis is brilliant. Have it as a separate indicator on the chart, and it's so intuitive. Awesome to hear. Aaron says I just signed up for the Black Friday deal. Awesome. Aaron, if you want multiple years, no sweat, go ahead and email us at hello@deepvue.com and we'll get everything sorted. Just let us know how many years you'd like, and we'll go ahead and take care of that for you. All right, so with that, thanks so much for tuning in. Again, really hope this was helpful for you guys. Find the way that to find RS that makes sense to you, whether it's bottoms up or top down, and go ahead and make the most of it and find those leaders before they take off in the next uptrend. So thanks so much for tuning in, and we'll see you guys in future videos and webinars. Cheers. Seeing a lot of thank yous in the chat, so thank you guys so much. Have a great rest of your Sunday, everybody.